Hey everybody, Spartan here from SpartanTrading.com. I had one of my members ask me to review a trade that I did on last Friday. Low float stock, ITRM, so I figured what the heck, I'll do it and I'll post it on YouTube. I'll probably do a couple more of these review videos as I get more time. Try and pump out as much content for you guys on YouTube as possible. ITRM, so this trade was on Friday. Basically it was a low float stock that I was looking at in the room. It broke out on the daily, and what I do with low float stocks is, it's no secret, I set alerts on the breakout areas on the charts. Very simple. A lot of people like to use scanners. I like to use the alerts because I tend to get into the position a little bit quicker than most people. Not all of them work, but if there's no volume behind where I got into it, I'm getting into it a lot earlier. If you're getting in on these really big volume spikes on the low float stocks, almost all the time you're chasing the stock, and it's the first person that gets in and out obviously is going to make money there. Other people that get in and out as they chase it, it's riskier, and most of these low float stocks do end up selling off, or there's a lot of false breakouts on them. So if you can get in right at that breakout area, you have lower risk. You can risk 15 or 10 cents, whatever it is, with smaller size, and then as it works, you can scale into the position. And if it doesn't work, then you only lose a little bit. So I'm all about that risk reward skew. There's a lot of failed breakouts. I don't tend to play low floats as much as I used to, just because I like to play more the big caps and the options with the big caps, and the mid cap bio stocks, as well as just mid cap stocks in general. You tend to get a lot easier technical follow through from a standpoint of holding trends and being able to roll contracts, etc. You get better leverage on those option positions than you would with playing a low float stock. But this was one that I did decide to play on Friday, and like I said, it was a breakout alert on the daily chart. So I had the alert set basically right above this EMA on the daily, right here. And once it broke that EMA, which was a 13 EMA to the upside, I was looking for a continuation push out the gate to this level. And I call them peaks and valleys, support resistance levels. That's just my terminology for them. Peak is defined as a high that stands out on the daily. So I was looking for continuation to this high right here, my first target, the 413 level, and I was looking to add through the stock at the breakout of the 50 EMA. So once it broke the 50 EMA, it got alerted on this range break right here. I'm going to do this so you guys can see this a little bit easier. I had all the studies. Range break area, so it's trading in a range, broke out of that range here at the $3 level, brought it up, saw it cross the 50 EMA on the daily to the upside. I figured, okay, I'm going to take the position. More volume came in, added into the position, and then my first target was that 413 spot. Before I took the trade, I was going to risk 20 cents to make the 70 or whatever it was at the time. We're actually looking at the trade itself. You can see the executions. So broke out, executions, 328, and then I started to see more volume coming into it while I was watching the L2, and then it's added full size basically right away, almost up. 8 cents for my entry, added full size, and then as it was pushing up, I started scaling out of the position. So first, obviously first 30 cents, took a little piece off, and then as it pushed up, I just sold on every single little 1 point move, or when I thought I saw some sellers coming on the L2. So took the stock at 328, 335. So let's call it a 335 average, my highest buy. Sold some at 360, then sold some at the 460 level. So I was selling into that 415 resistance level. It blew through it, and I got out a little bit higher. Stock kept halting to the upside, and usually on an unhalt, what will happen is I'll sell on market order. I never use markets, I only use limits, and whenever stock halts, that's the only time I will use a market order. So if it unhalts, I'll sell with a market order. Usually you get a decent fill, you get a little bit of pop. Sometimes you get that pull, then a continuation push, depending upon how much momentum this little stock had. In this case, once that 415 level broke to the upside, I could see on the daily it had quite a bit more room to the upside. The next resistance was that 499 level, so $5 area, and then after that it was the 630, and then that $6 or $7 level on the upside. So obviously, let's go back to the chart. And as this stock's running, guys, I usually sell a quarter to quarter. So I'll go a quarter out or 1/8 out. I try to split it up into eighths. And then I'll either go a quarter of that eighth out, or I'll go 1/8 of that eighth out. And the reason why I like to scale out of positions is I don't know how high this low float stock is going to go. All I know is it has momentum, and it will have momentum until the buying stops. In this case, buying was pretty constant all the way until what, the 647 level, which we knew there was resistance at that 630. So that 630 resistance, it broke through it, started to pull back through it. Once it pulled back through it, I decided I'm gonna hold an eighth of the position, so I sold most of it on that pullback, which was 617, 621, 625, 633. That's where the fills were going through. And then I figured, okay, if it starts to break that parabolic uptrend, I'm gonna exit the entire position, which it eventually did, and I sold the rest at 470. So decent little trade there. You can see I got back into it over here. Usually my rules for trading low floats is I like to go one and done on them, because after your first trade on them, you tend to do kind of stupid things where, let's say you make a couple points, you maybe lose 50 cents on the next trade, and then you kind of go after it more aggressive to make that 50 cents back. So my rule of kind of, don't screw with them once you make a good trade on them, this is almost 100% trade on a small stock, which is pretty darn good within 30 minutes or whatever it was. So I went back into it at like 518, and then I sold the rest. And I, was like, what am I doing? Just get out of it. Sold the rest at 510. But anywho, that's that review on this little trade here, guys. Pretty simple. Range break on the daily. Volume came in, added into it immediately, scaled out as it went up. Once it broke the parabolic uptrend, exited the rest of the position. And yeah, it's a good little low float stock trade. I'll do more little updated review trades like this going forward, so you guys can kind of see how I operate from an equity standpoint and an option standpoint. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll keep this stuff coming in 2020. Happy New Year! I will have a Happy New Year video out on, or not Happy New Year video, a Happy New Year video on Sunday. Just kind of how to prepare yourself for the new year, things to think about, just like I did last year. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Have a good one. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to go to spartantrading.com or email me at spartantrading.com. Thanks, guys, for watching, and have a good one.